Hello everyone, today I will tell you a story full of magic, love, and strength from ancient times. Our leader is Isis, the goddess of wisdom, magic, and perseverance in Egyptian mythology. Let's explore her magical journey together. Isis, the goddess of gentle beauty and supernatural wisdom and magic, is an indispensable character in Egyptian mythology. Born from the union of earth and sky, Isis and her three brothers, Osiris, Set, and Nephthys, created a generation of powerful gods. From a young age, Isis stood out for her intelligence and innate ability to use magic. Not only a sister, wife, mother, she is also the protector of life, the connector between the visible and invisible worlds. The throne-shaped crown that Isis wears on her head is not just a decoration. In Egyptian hieroglyphics, it is a symbol of the name Isis itself, and also of her supreme power. In addition, the Ankh, a circular cross, symbolizes eternal life. The ancient Egyptians believed that as long as one has Isis' blessing, life will be protected from all evils, including death. Another special thing, Isis has a close connection with the Nile River, the lifeblood of Egyptian civilization. Every year, when the river floods, people believe that the goddess herself has given them fertile soil, bringing abundant crops and abundant life. The image of Isis at this time is not only a powerful goddess, but also a great mother of the whole country. Isis's life took a new turn when she married Osiris, the god of life, death, and rebirth. They were not only a destined couple, but also a symbol of perfect balance, wisdom and justice, magic and morality, love and duty. Together they ruled Egypt, ushering in a period of great peace and prosperity. However, tragedy struck when Set, her jealous younger brother, plotted to kill Osiris to usurp the throne. But that was not the end. It was from that tragic moment that people saw more clearly the power of Isis. She did not give up. She began her journey to find her husband's body, overcoming many hardships and dangers, then used magic to revive Osiris. It was that action that gave birth to Horus, the son who would replace his father to restore order to the universe. From a grieving wife, Isis became an unyielding symbol of loyalty, strength, and resurrection. Perhaps in hundreds of Egyptian myths, there is rarely a love story as beautiful and profound as that between Isis and Osiris. They were not only divine blood brothers, but also perfect pieces that created the most prosperous period in ancient mythological history. They love each other with a soul connection, where one side is wisdom, magic, and love, the other side is justice, leadership, and tolerance. When Osiris ascended the throne, Isis became the powerful but close queen. In the eyes of the Egyptians at that time, this was a true divine king, divine queen pair. Osiris was not a god sitting on a distant throne. He went down to the fields, taught the people how to grow wheat, built a system of canals to bring water from the Nile, and organized the crops according to the lunar and solar cycles. Thanks to that guidance, Egypt, from arid lands, became green and prosperous. Isis, on the other hand, did not just sit in her palace. With her knowledge of medicine and ancient magic, she traveled far and wide, healing the sick, teaching mothers how to care for their children, and teaching healers how to combine herbs with spells. Under her reign, no one was left behind. From the peasant to the village child, everyone was cared for, educated, and inspired. The atmosphere was truly a golden age. The rice was ripening on both banks of the Nile. Temples were built to worship the gods, and songs of thanksgiving were heard everywhere. The people not only loved Osiris as a king, but also revered Isis as a mother of the nation, someone who always brought a sense of peace and security. Their love was not just a private feeling, but a force that united the nation. They complemented each other perfectly. While Osiris used law to create order, Isis used compassion and wisdom to ignite hope in the hearts of men. It could be said that neither of them was greater. They shone most brightly together. However, what makes this story haunt future generations is that moment of happiness was too short. When everything was perfect, danger silently appeared in the form of her younger brother, Set. But that is another chapter, where the tragedy begins and Isis's true power is ignited. It seemed as if the happy times of Isis and Osiris would last forever, but a dark storm quietly gathered, bringing with it jealousy and ambition. The jealous brother Set could not bear the spotlight of Osiris. He wanted more than the throne. He wanted to erase all traces of his brother from the kingdom. During a lavish feast, Set secretly prepared an elaborately carved coffin that fit Osiris's body perfectly. When Osiris tried it out, as planned, Set and his men immediately closed the lid, sealed it with black magic, and threw it straight into the Nile. The kingdom fell into chaos. The people were shocked, but no one was more heartbroken than Isis. The pain was so great that it could have crushed anyone, but for Isis, it became the fire that urged her to stand up. Alone, she began a journey across Egypt, crossing deserts, wading through swamps, following every fragile trace to find her husband. After many days of hardship, she found the coffin. It seemed that she could rest in peace, but the tragedy did not end there. Set, in a panic because his plot was exposed, tore Osiris's body into many pieces, then scattered them across distant lands. Isis did not give up. With extraordinary willpower and ancient magic, she searched for each body piece, pieced it back together, and performed a sacred ritual of resurrection. Although Osiris could not live forever, in that magical moment, a miracle happened. Isis conceived their child, Horus. Realizing the danger that Set still posed, Isis took her son to a remote swamp in the Nile Delta. There, she became a mother figure in the truest sense of the word, raising and educating Horus, teaching him not only magic, but also wisdom, courage, justice, and the desire to restore lost order. Horus is more than just the son of Osiris. He is the only hope to defeat Set, restore justice, and continue his parents' great legacy. The story of Isis is not about loss. It is a testament to the power of love, loyalty, and resilience to overcome even death. Many years had passed since the day Osiris was murdered, and the boy, Horus, the only child of Isis and Osiris, had grown up under the strict protection and boundless love of his mother. Isis not only kept her son away from Set's sight, but also devoted herself to training him in wisdom, courage, and fighting skills. She knew that one day, Horus would have to take his father's place and restore justice to the kingdom of Egypt. And then the day came. Horus, now a mighty warrior, stepped into the light, challenging Set, the usurper and uprooter of the divine order. But this was not just a battle between two gods. It was a battle between light and darkness, between justice and ambition, between peace and chaos. The battle between them lasted for many years. Each side had its own strength and strategy. Set, with his cruel nature, often used cruel tricks, while Horus was brave, resilient, and always fought for the noble ideals of his parents. At times it seemed that Horus was losing, but Isis always silently watched and intervened at the right time. Once, when Horus was seriously injured, Isis transformed into a night wind, quietly came to his side, and healed his wounds with her ancient magic. She also used her wisdom to plot and turn the tables on strategic chessboards, causing Set to stumble many times. Many times, it was her wisdom and tolerance that made the other gods lean towards Horus' side. The final confrontation took place before the Council of the Gods. After many trials, from hand-to-hand combat, to riddles, to debates before Ra, Horus proved his integrity and his suitability as king. The council declared Horus the winner. Set, the cause of so much suffering, was eventually banished from the kingdom. With that victory, Horus became the rightful pharaoh, ruling Egypt with the justice and wisdom his mother had passed down, and his father Osiris, after being partially resurrected, accepted the role of Lord of the Underworld, governing the souls of the dead and maintaining order in the afterlife. Isis, no longer a mother hiding in the marshes, is a symbol of life, miracles, and perseverance, who silently steers the fate of the kingdom with her wisdom and heart. When we look back at Isis's entire journey, we see not just an ancient Egyptian goddess, but a living symbol of inner strength, loyalty, and miraculous rebirth. It is no coincidence that for thousands of years, the Egyptians and other civilizations that followed have worshipped her, not just for her divine powers, but because her story speaks to something deeply human. loss, struggle, and hope. Isis is the embodiment of wisdom. Even when faced with a cruel enemy like Set, she does not choose blind vengeance, but uses a clear mind and clever strategy to protect what she loves. She does not need to shout or show off her strength. Just a few clever words or a well-timed spell, enough to turn the tide. Isis was also the goddess of miracles, but not the kind that fell from the sky, but the kind that came from determination and unyielding will. When Osiris was torn apart, she did not weep helplessly. She went, found each piece of the body, put it back together with love and magic, and turned the pain into new life, life named Horus, the hope of an entire dynasty. And we cannot fail to mention the sacred motherhood. Isis nurtured her child not only with milk and warmth, but also with lessons in morality, courage, and justice. It was Horus, the crystallization of love and struggle, who brought about the final victory over the forces of darkness. Above all, Isis is a symbol of recovery. In every situation, whether losing her husband, raising her children in danger, or confronting the gods, she still stands firm, still shines. Perhaps that is why later generations always consider Isis the goddess of resurrection, not only in the physical sense, but also in the spiritual sense, the motivation for people to overcome adversity. Today, the image of Isis remains in many cultures as an ideal of a strong, yet compassionate woman. Without swords or weapons, she conquers with her wisdom, faith, and great heart. The story of Isis, therefore, is not just a myth, but a living lesson in faith, loyalty, and the undying power of love.